Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Today, we are not revisiting a match scoreline or a ranking update. This is not about the familiar arithmetic of wins and losses. No, what we are exploring is something far more revealing, something that challenges the old rules of sport itself. Influence before victory, attention before achievement, and the way modern sports culture can crown a star before a trophy even changes hands. At the 2026 Australian Open, the world witnessed an extraordinary event, one that was almost invisible to traditional metrics. Alexandra Eala, a 20-year-old from the Philippines, played a single match. She lost that match to American Alicia Parks. On paper, that is as ordinary as it gets. No main stage drama, no championship points, no media narrative praising a breakthrough performance. By the old rules, Eala's story should have disappeared quietly into the first-round exits of the draw. Yet, by any modern standard of influence, the event she created was monumental. It was not Alcaraz, Sinner, or Djokovic, no matter their stature, titles, and Grand Slam pedigree, whose presence captured the attention of global audiences most vividly. It was Alexandra Eala, a player who, in the classical sense, was still ascending. A player whose career numbers were modest compared with the giants of the sport. And yet, in the court of public fascination, she reigned. Eala herself called it overwhelming. That was the term she used to describe the energy and intensity of her supporters at Melbourne Park, not only during the match, but also in the practice sessions leading up to it. And while the experience was personally intense for her, for observers, the scale of interest was a confirmation rather than a surprise. Because the truth is, Eala had crossed an invisible boundary long before stepping onto court 6. She had become one of the most discussed, followed, and emotionally invested in figures in women's tennis. Ranking points did not measure her influence. Wins and losses did not define it. Her impact was digital, cultural, and deeply emotional. Her first-round loss to Parks did not diminish this phenomenon. In fact, it accentuated it. The crowd remained long after the match ended. Cameras continued to track her. Media narratives lingered, dissecting her every move, her every word. The fascination did not require a trophy to validate itself. It had taken on a life independent of the scoreboard. This phenomenon did not begin in Melbourne. It was the result of a series of events that built over months, perhaps even years. The defining moment, the catalyst, came during the previous season at the Miami Open. Eala's performance there recalibrated the world's perception of her potential. Her stunning victory over Iga Swiatek was not just a win. It was a statement, a declaration that she could challenge the elite. Media coverage surged, social engagement spiked, and the audience realized a new story had entered the tennis landscape. In the Philippines, the impact was immediate. A country of over 115 million people, long searching for representation on tennis's global stage, suddenly had a figure to rally behind. The nation embraced her with a fervor typically reserved for heroes of national lore. Yet the phenomenon did not remain regional. Her story spread beyond Southeast Asia, penetrating broader tennis audiences, infiltrating fan networks, and sparking conversations worldwide. By the time Eala arrived in Melbourne, her Instagram following had approached 850,000. This figure is significant not because social media defines talent, but because it quantifies reach, influence, and cultural penetration. A large following is a signal of attention that cannot be ignored by brands, media, or tournament organizers. Eala immediately felt the weight of this attention. During practice sessions, crowds gathered in numbers that would have been extraordinary for any unseeded player, let alone someone early in their WTA career. She admitted that the experience was a learning process. Grateful, yes, but also conscious that this level of scrutiny brings unique challenges. Public visibility comes with expectations, commentary, and pressure, all of which arrive long before trophies. Her reflections after the match were revealing. She spoke with quiet honesty about the challenge of processing defeat, while knowing so many were rooting for her. This is the paradox of modern fame. Recognition can amplify the sting of loss, yet also validates the significance of the journey. The spectacle surrounding her was not a distraction. It was proof that she had achieved something no result could measure. Perhaps the most tangible evidence of her growing influence came from an unlikely source: the Australian Open's official YouTube channel. Her press conference amassed over 60,000 views, more than any of the established male stars of the tournament, including Carlos Alcaraz, Jannik Sinner, and Novak Djokovic. These are players whose careers have been defined by Grand Slam finals and multiple championship titles. Yet the cliques of curious fans sought Eala's voice first. This is a clear marker of the new currency in sports. Attention now operates independently of results. Influence is often measured not by the trophies won, but by the engagement commanded. Fans click not to hear predictions from champion, but to witness authenticity, relatability, and the emergence of a personality they can connect with. Eala's tennis remains a work in progress. Recently breaking into the WTA Top 50, she still faces gaps to overcome in her game. She must enhance her serve, develop resilience under pressure, and build strategic depth against elite opponents. Yet her ascent is unique because it unfolds under a public gaze that few players experience this early in their careers. Training at the Rafael Nadal Academy in Mallorca has accelerated her development, providing her with elite coaching, a structured routine, and exposure to world-class standards. Yet what stands out is her disciplined approach. Despite Miami and the attention it brought, her work ethic and daily routines remained grounded in fundamentals. She focuses on incremental steps rather than the spectacle, a mindset that protects both performance and mental clarity. Miami gave her confidence. It confirmed that she could challenge the very best, but it also highlighted the work that remains. Belief, she has learned, must coexist with awareness. Confidence cannot blind her to gaps in her game, and achievement cannot inflate expectation prematurely. Central to her resilience is her family. They are not merely supporters. They are the architecture of her journey. Their guidance, structure, and consistent presence have allowed ambition to flourish without distortion. Eala emphasizes family orientation as a core part of her identity, a grounding mechanism that shields her from the pitfalls of early fame. There's a delicate balance here. Fame that arrives before full readiness can distort growth. It can accelerate pressure, magnify mistakes, and compress development timelines. Young athletes in similar positions often experience early burnout or the relentless scrutiny of performance metrics as they struggle to meet the expectations of visibility rather than mastery. Eala's presence, however, is vital to the sport. Women's tennis has been searching for compelling narratives and regional representation beyond its traditional strongholds. Eala provides that narrative. She embodies aspiration for millions of young players in Southeast Asia and beyond, showing them that global relevance is attainable. Representation is not symbolic here. It is transformative. She activates markets, inspires a generation, and introduces audiences to a broader, more inclusive vision of the sport. She has become a role model, not because she is perfect or undefeated, but because she is visible, approachable, and authentic. Her rise underscores a central truth of modern sport. Visibility can be as powerful as victory. The crowd's roar, social media engagement, and digital curiosity now rival traditional metrics of success. The responsibility does not rest solely on her shoulders. The broader ecosystem of tennis, coaches, federations, media, and sponsors, must nurture this phenomenon carefully. The goal is to support her growth without letting attention outpace development, to manage expectations without stifling ambition, and to protect the journey while allowing the narrative to unfold naturally. Despite her first-round loss at the Australian Open, Eala achieved what few young players do. She captured attention at a scale that can define a generation. She became a global story, a cultural touchstone, a beacon for the sport's next wave. Wins will follow. Trophies may arrive, but the moment she became unignorable has already passed. This is the power of the modern sporting world. Influence, reach, and attention can precede dominance. They can shape markets, fan behaviors, and cultural narratives in ways victories alone cannot. Alexandra Eala's Australian Open 2026 was not a match result. It was a statement, an early chapter in a story that will continue to shape the landscape of tennis for years to come. The trophies will come eventually. Rankings will fluctuate, but the world has leaned in to watch her, and that moment of universal attention is indelible. For Alexandra Eala, 2026 is not measured in match wins. It is measured in the hearts she captured, the attention she commanded, and the precedent she has set for what it means to arrive in modern sport. And once attention like that has been commanded, there is no going back.